There we go. So yeah, we're recording, and we're excited about having Coach Minard on the show again today, kids. Welcome to the Conk Family Show. It's another beautiful day. We are getting absolutely dumped on outside right now.
Are
I woke
you?
up to almost a foot of snow, and it's coming down still.
Oh,
It's
wow.
I'm looking out the window right now, and the snow is just coming down. I bought this nice snow blower this year for the first time ever. My sweetie and we've lived here for like 27 years, and I've never had a
Wow.
snow blower.
Wow.
And this last summer, I had an opportunity to get a really expensive, like an $800 snow blower I got it for $300. Actually, it was
Whoa.
$200 out of pocket, and then I did a little carpet repair for the other $100. And the people I was doing the carpet repair, they were moving down to warm weather. They no longer needed this snowblower anymore, so they sold it to me for $300. And I'm like, I didn't really need a snowblower at the time, and I was like, but I can't let this pass. I got to get it.
Yeah.
$300 for a nice snowblower. I had to roll with it, so I did. And yeah, I'm excited. I get to here after I get done with the show. I got to get a couple of orders placed, and I'm ranking up to 4A today on my
Congratulations.
new
Woo.
competition. And I also was able to utilize. I got one sale on Friday, and I was able to parlay that sale into another sale on Saturday. And so I'm putting two orders in today in stackable form and sending them both in at the same time. And it's kind of cool. I don't know if people know they can do that, because you can actually place multiple orders at the same time without having ID numbers. The only thing you need is the original first ID of who the first person is going to be under. And then they just take that second person and put them under the first person, and so on, and they just keep stacking them down. And I learned this from Dan
Wow.
Edmond. He had somebody that came in and bought. Uh, he helped this grandma buy a trifecta, but she was buying it from somebody else. He was just helping her, and she was sent into the office by somebody else. And as the Kong family rolls, we don't steal other people's people and that kind of thing. And so he helped her get signed up underneath the person who she was supposed to sign up under. And then about a week later, she comes back in with 9 of her children and grandchildren.
Wow.
All 9 of them bought trifectas, one after another, after another, after another.
Wow.
And he was able to place them all at the same time. It's like, wow, huh? Yeah, isn't that awesome? That was so cool. It's just so neat knowing that we have that ability, and that that's just part of what makes this company so incredible. And so anyway, so Coach, it's always awesome having you here, and it's the first Monday of the month, kids. Coach Minard comes in and graces the show, graces the whole family with some awesome sauce information. And I know that right now she's been running a program that I've been participating in, and it's based off of her book. I'm gonna go to the gallery view so people can get a better view of the book. Train Your Brain for Success. And see that little brain right there, that little golden brain? You see how strong that brain is? Is your brain that strong, kids? But I absolutely love this, Coach. I really love this book. I love this process. And I want to give everybody just a little bit of my thoughts about the book. There's a lot of places, a lot of books out there that are, goal setting books, empowerment books and things like that. And I've read quite a few of them over the years. One thing I want to let everybody know that I think is so special about this book is that Coach doesn't just tell you to need to write goals. She actually gives you ideas. And this book is really filled with with recommendations and things to get you thinking. Because the thing I've learned, Coach, from doing this with you the last month is that it's hard to level with yourself. It's hard. I think it's harder to tell yourself the truth than it is to tell other people the truth. And I think that's one thing about your book that has been so valuable to me, is that it's helping me to find out who I am and what I want, and it's helping me. It's still a process. It's not like I've got it down yet and know exactly what I'm doing or whatever, but I love the concept and the whole idea of this being able to help me figure out who I am and what I really want. And, you know, I've got my goals written down now and that kind of stuff. And so it's really special, Coach. I want to commend you on an incredible piece of literature and training. And so anyway, that's just what I think, kids.
Well, thank you. I appreciate those kind words. And it's interesting that you said that, and finding yourself, because as I was writing that book, that was what I was trying to do as well, because I had been at home for years and kind of out of being in a career, being out of business, being a stay-at-home mom. I kind of lost myself, my own identity. And so when I went back to school and I was doing all this research and learning a lot about how the brain works and, you know, developing these exercises, it really was a practice in finding out, who am I and what do I really want in life? And unfortunately, most people, they just go through the motions and they are not really thinking about, who am I as a person? And, you know, what are my natural gifts, abilities, and talents? And what is it that I'm wanting to become? What is it that I'm wanting to move toward? And without vision, like the scripture says, without vision, my people perish. Because without something to move toward, there isn't ambition, there isn't motivation, there isn't clarity there. And really, you know, the process through the book and what I went through was just really developing clarity. So clarity, who I am, where I want to go, and how I'm going to do that. And it seems so common sense, yet it's not common sense, because we just get so caught up in life and we don't take time to really be introspective. And I think for extroverted personality types, they live out here, that sometimes they forget to like do some deep inner work in here, where sometimes introverts can be so inner that then they're not out here doing the work that they need to do. So it's kind of funny. But I appreciate the kind words. I've loved having you in the class, and it's exciting to see the progress and growth. And I mean, even me going back, every time I go through it, I feel like I go up to the next level, because I see something that I didn't see before. I learned something about myself that I didn't know about myself, or I've grown out of this phase and I'm now up here. And it's fun to be up here and to be able to look and see where I was, and that now I've outgrown those beliefs, those mindsets, that space, and now I'm ready to be up here. And that's really what it's all about, is us to keep evolving into who we're meant to be, really.
Yeah. You know, one thing that was interesting about the book that I thought was kind of mind-blowing was you have a link to go take a personality test. And that personality test, that talk about mind-blowing. I mean, it nailed me right on the money when I was done, and I submitted all of my answers to the questions, and it gave me a description of my strengths and weaknesses, and I was just like, unfreaking believable. That is literally me. Like, that is like 98% me, of who I am. I mean, that was just absolutely incredible. And I was wondering, because it seems to me that might be a good thing for our audience to be able to do, that might actually open their eyes to themselves a little bit. And it also gives people a great example as to, what this is all about. And
Absolutely.
so perhaps people might want to go take that test. And if they go take that test, then that might perhaps spur them to want to get the book and actually join us in our weekly Monday night trainings that we're doing at 8 p.m. Eastern. Any chance you might give them that address and let them
Yes.
go take that test?
So the first exercise in the book is to actually it's a free abbreviated form of the Myers-Briggs type indicator assessment. So this is a popular personality assessment backed by tons and tons of research, and it breaks people into 16 different personality groups. Like, for example, it's looking at whether you're extroverted or introverted. A lot of introverts actually think they're extroverted because at work they have to be very social. But it's not so much socialness as it's the way you process information, you take in and exchange energy. So it's basically questions. I don't know how many questions, 100 questions. It takes like 10, 15 minutes to go through the test. Because again, this is abbreviated form. And it's going to look at different dimensions of the personality. And it's really looking at right brain, left brain, and which area you're dominant in terms of how you process information, feelings, emotions, whether you're a very present person, if you're a more futuristic type of person. But the test link is 16, the number 16, personalities, that's plural.com, 16personalities.com. So, it's not the full out Myers-Briggs type indicator that will cost hundreds of dollars. You have to go to a professional career counselor or HR personnel or something to be able to take that full test. But I really like this abbreviated form. For the most part, I find that about 95% of people are truly honest with themselves and get the right personality type. Because here's the thing, you have to be honest with yourself. Because you think, oh yeah, I'm a super extroverted person. I'm really future forward thinking. I'm this. But then the reality is sit down thinking, no, I'm actually this personality, and this personality is okay. Like, what is the true, this is how you truly work. And it's not like I'm an introvert, but I've learned to be more extroverted. I'm very I'm so future oriented that sometimes I can have my head in the clouds, where my husband is the opposite. He's very now and very grounded and very practical. And I so need that to balance. So we need each other to balance each other. So typically you will marry your opposite. So like my 4 letters are the complete opposite of my husband. But typically you'll have at least 2 letters different because you need that balance and you need to work as a team. So a lot of people, like when I first got married, I thought, well, I'm going to make my husband more like me. Like, shouldn't he do things like me? Shouldn't he think like I do? And so like that was my whole goal, was to try to change him to be more like me. And finally, after so many years of marriage, this year will be 20 years for us actually. It was realizing this is the way God made him. And if we're 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 2 quarterbacks on a team, right? Like you have a quarterback and receiver, like you make a good team. And so in marriage, in business, and we tend to attract to people those that have similar values, belief systems in us as us. But in terms of personality, we do well to work with other diverse personalities because it's more wholesome, if that makes sense. And you create greater perspective and a greater team too. But the biggest thing about the test is like what you're saying is you to learn about yourself. So you answer the questions and it's first going to talk about strengths and weaknesses. And to me, this is really helpful. It's like, oh yeah, I am a really creative person. I do tend to do this. Okay, these are some of my weaknesses. Oh yeah, I do tend to shy away from this. Okay, so this is something that I know is natural to my personality type, but how can I overcome this? Because I know I need to if I want to progress in life. It will go through relationship styles. It will go through well-suited careers. So I come out of career counseling. So we were big into personality assessments. And honestly, it was so fun like working in the university, and these kids would take the personality test, and just like you, JJ, like, oh my gosh, this read me like a book. And then they look through and see the different careers and be like, now I understand why I chose that major. Or now I understand why choosing the major my parents wanted me to go into is why I'm so unhappy, because I'm not built for this. It's really fascinating. So I can talk about this stuff all day, so I'll stop.
No, I love it. I think it's a, this is a golden book. It really is. People would do themselves a huge favor by getting this book, and it's not even an expensive book, and it's I got to tell you, I love the way it's written. I love the way that, because it really has been the thing that is really helping me more than any other book I've ever read, because of all the suggestions. Because it's one thing to tell people they need to set goals and that kind of stuff, and they need to figure out what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are and that kind of stuff. But one thing you do is, with all of your different suggestions, basically you're spilling out your own life and basically saying, hey, this is what I did. This is how I did it. Maybe it might work for you too. And it's pretty dang cool. And I think that anybody who's having, they're wanting self-improvement, they're wanting to set goals, but when they sit down with a pen and paper and they want to start writing goals down, they're like,
where do I start?
What do I want? What is realistic? Because our goals need to be realistic, and they need to be attainable, and this kind of thing. And you have to sit and question yourself. Well, what is realistic? What can I attain? And that kind of thing. And so I think your book is powerful in that department because of all of your great suggestions, your thought-provoking examples and questions and that kind of stuff. And so I definitely highly recommend that people get involved with it. And another thing, just to give everybody an idea of what an incredible lady Coach Minard is and how selfless she is. And, not only being here with us every first Monday of every month, but right now she's doing a training on this book to help us with our problems with it, to help us with anything we're stuck on. And we do it every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And Coach, what do you think? Can people who are curious, can they jump in on those trainings with us, even though they might not have the book yet?
Sure, anytime. I'm going to leave that group open. So, if anybody wants to do it, they can reach out to you. They can reach out to me. We can add them to the group. They just need to get the book, to be able to go through it. But I'm going to leave the videos in there so that if people want to go through it at their own pace. I mean, years ago, I would charge literally thousands of dollars to work with people and go through all of this. And I really, I did this because I wanted to train to work with my team, because that's the whole goal. Like, I love the life coaching, but the water that's where my heart is, and changing lives. And then if I can use the coaching then to build leaders and help transform mindset, we're truly getting true health. So I just decided this year that I just wanted to open it up for whoever wanted to do it. Because I believe, you plant good seeds, good things come back. And the more people, the whole thing is helping people. Just want to help as many people as I can. That's what, when I go to sleep at night, that's what makes me happy, is knowing that I've changed lives. So yeah, it's there. So, like I said, we can add people to that group at any time. We're going to do the class tonight, and then we'll have one more class that we'll record, and then we'll be done with the recordings.
Okay. So it's just going to be for a couple of weeks, and then we're going to move on to other stuff or whatever. So I recommend to people to jump on board with that if they're interested. And, if you don't end up jumping on board with this before the weekly trainings end up ending, it's still something that you can get involved with and still something you can learn from. And so, Coach, why don't you tell everybody what that group is again, just so that everybody knows what group they would want to join if they're interested in getting your book and getting involved and learning how to use it. And I'm guessing that if anybody buys your book and they buy it after the fact, like somebody that might be watching this episode 6 months from now, and they decide that they want to get your book and that I would imagine that if they reach out to you, that you'd probably be willing to help them out one way or the other, or, send them. The cool thing is you can just send them back to these recordings. And even though they're not there live and in the meeting, they can still gain the benefit of the recordings. And so, what do you think? You want to give them the group name and all that stuff?
Sure. I think it's just Train Your Brain for Success 2020. Train Your Brain for Success, which is the name of the book, 2020. And they can reach out. I'm Sharon Wiley Minard on Facebook. JJ, yeah, you can reach out to JJ too. JJ, you can just go in the group and click invite and they can join.
Yeah, I highly recommend it, kids. If you're looking for a good self-help book, a good mindset, goal-setting book, I personally, I haven't seen anything out there that's better than this, Coach. I think you did a masterful job. And I think everybody would behoove themselves. I know that all of my team members in Enagic, I'm encouraging them to get your book and to go through it and to learn this. Well, this is good stuff. This is something that really everybody should be trying to do. Anybody that really wants to get, they want to get where they want to go instead of staying where they are. Well,
thank you. I appreciate that. Well, and that's why I made it into a workbook, because like you said, I've read tons of great books that, they have an impact on you. Maybe you get a little nugget, but until you sit down and do the work and get stuff down on paper and decide really to take, and then you got to take action, obviously, is anything really going to change? And so really I developed the book so that I would have material to work with the people that were hiring me to be a coach, so that we could work through the material together. And so I never really intended to publish it for the public or whatnot, because it's hard, I think, to do something like this completely on your own. Like you said, you bought the book, it sat there for 6 months. So that's why doing it in groups, doing it with a coach is really helpful. Some sort of accountability partner. I tell people, even if you're outside of class, maybe you can get a couple of friends and you guys can commit to work on it together. And even if it takes you, instead of a month, it takes you 3 months, 6 months, whatever, just keep going with it. That's the dilemma is, we open a book, we read the first chapter, and then we never finish it. And so, just do whatever you need to create accountability, because that's the hard part. So I think, even with Enagic, that's our goal is to create accountability with our team too. And, just creating an environment that's fun, where people can learn and develop themselves. That's really the best way to go.
Yeah. And the thing about this, I'm wondering what you have to say about this, because obviously we're the Kong Family Show. And so most of what we're talking about, most of what our goals are, most of what everything we're doing is all surrounding around Kangen water. But somebody could take this book and use it to be able to improve their performance at work, or for their, for help their family life, their professional life, whatever. Somebody doesn't have to be part of Kangen water to utilize your book, correct?
Right. I wrote the book before I got in the water business. So yeah, I went back to school to become a life coach and I worked with diversity of people, those wanting to kind of transition up in career, those in midlife crisis. Like I said, I was director of career services for a university in Virginia. So it was college students, directing them into proper careers, analyzing their skills, all that kind of stuff. So that's just part of my personality is I love to understand people and I love to help people. And I love like understanding the brain and all of that. So all of these exercises are wherever. You could be a college student. I mean, it doesn't matter where you're at in life. These are just basic exercises that you apply to where you are. I mean, you could be a house mom who just wants to kind of get more organized and change the mindset to be happier. I mean, you could be 80. I've had all range of ages take this test, and I've had a lot say who are a lot older, wow, I wish I had had this when I was in my 20s. This would have made a big difference for me in my life. And, I kind of say the same thing. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And, I'm thankful that now to be in a NAGIC and a company that is so goal oriented, that has such a big vision. I mean, it just encapsulates everything that I love and everything that I stand for. So I think the book just goes perfect for anyone who's an entrepreneur, anyone who's, no matter if you're in standard business or not, goals are goals. Understanding yourself is becoming more grateful, conquering your fears, learning to train your brain to move into your purpose and to see bigger things. I mean, that's for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely helps. Hey, Dan, our brother Dan Edlin's hanging out in the house, and I figured I'd reach out to him real quick, see if he's got anything he'd like to ask you or anything like that.
No, I've been following her journey. I would kind of like to get the I was in and out answering questions, so I'm sorry, but I would like to get that little test that she was talking about. I'm kind of curious.
So yeah, go ahead, Coach.
So at the website, it's free. It's called 16, so 16, the number 16, personalities, that's plural.com. So 16personalities.com. It's based on the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, which breaks people into 16 different categories. Okay. All right. So it's taking basically 8 different dimensions, and you're going to fit into 4. You're going to have 4 different letters. So like, for example, JJ is an extrovert, so he has an E. JJ is intuitive. So intuitives are big picture-minded people, where sensors are very down-to-earth, realistic, very present in the moment type of people. Then JJ, you are an F, so that's a feeler. So you base things more on compassion, empathy. Thinkers base their decisions on logic, very black and white. And then the last letter is either a J or a P. So JJ was a J. JJ was a J. So J's need to complete things. They like to have plans of action. No, you are a P. JJ, you are a P. P's are more spontaneous.
Yeah.
So they're more fun. Let's just live life in the moment. Like, fly by the seat of my pants, kind of like, they love the thrill of like excitement of all that. Where like J's don't really like that. They like the plan. We need to have a plan. Like, what's our plan of action? Like, we need to be organized in this. So it's fun to read through, and it's not that, it's like, I'm a J, so I'm very plan oriented, but I have some P in me too. So I have days where I'm just like, screw the plan. Like, I want to be fun and spontaneous today. So, and like I said, like, I'm an introvert, but I have extroversion in me. We're never like 100% one or the other. So that's why within one personality group, like JJ is an ENFP, I have a good number of friends that are ENFPs, and yet they're not all exactly the same, because they're all different dimensions of each of those letters, if that makes sense. And that's what makes us all very, very unique. But within the 16 groups, there's 4 different categories, which is really fascinating. So JJ is an NF, and I'm also an NF. So these are big picture feeler types. We're the Martin Luther Kings, we're the Mother Teresas. We want to lift society to a higher level. We have a heart for people. A lot of teachers, a lot of counselors, a lot of pastors will come out of this group. We're very caring, but sometimes we can be too caring, and we can enable people because our hearts are too big. So when you get people like us in sales, a lot of times we have a hard time making money, taking money from people. We have a hard time with rejection because we take it personally. So I know working with people in this group, these are the issues that I'm going to have to deal with. Then you have your NTs. This is your big picture thinkers. These are typically your top CEOs. These are very domineering, analytical type of personalities. They have no problem with sales. They have no problem with money. Their problem is sometimes they're not as empathetic. And so we have to learn, okay, in sales, like we don't want to run over people. Like, let's bring some love and compassion, into it. Then there's another personality group that are the SPs. These are very, very down to earth, spontaneous, fun. They love the thrill. So my husband's in this group. Cynthia Briganti is in this group. They love the challenge. They love the risk taking. They are very people-oriented people. They make really great salespeople. Sometimes they can be unorganized because of that P spontaneity. So they have to kind of get a little bit more organized in their productivity. Then we have the 4th group is the F, is the feeler judgers. And this is where about 40 to 50% of the population is in. So these are more traditional minded people. These are the worker bees of society that basically hold society together. Because if we have all, like JJ and my group is a smaller group, so we're the visionaries. Okay, if you have all visionaries, you got to have people to do the work too. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
yeah.
I get it.
And so the FJs are solid. These are the ones that really get stuff done. And you have, out of all of these groups, you have presidents. Out of all of these groups, you can have CEOs. I'm not trying to say like, oh, you're in this one group, you can't be this or that, or whatnot. But it's interesting in how, like the FJs, they like social order. They like things to kind of stay the same. Where like JJ and I, like we're big picture visionaries. Like we want to come in and shake things up. Like we want to shake up the status quo because we know that we need to do that to get people to go up to a higher level.
Well, I have a pretty good idea where I'll fall with some of those things, but I'll definitely take it. I know I'm not an introvert by any means, but I'll be curious to see, where I end up on the spectrum. And I'm sure that there's, directions as I go along. Once I'm done, I'm sure it kind of outlines what I am.
Yes. It's going to go through and give you a lot of good descriptions. And it's all free. If you want to pay, they will give you a whole book if you want to pay. But here's the deal. You can take those 4 letters and you can Google and you can get all kinds of descriptions because this test has been around forever. And there's other little mini tests out there too. But I encourage you like read through, but you will have, if you don't have a few aha moments, then take the test again. Because you should read it and go, oh yeah, that is me. But it's powerful to understand yourself, and this is how you tick. And when you can embrace that side of yourself and go, this is the way I'm made. Okay, so if I'm made this way, how can I use this to benefit myself? And like for my personality type, harmony is a huge one. I want everybody to get along. I don't like conflict. Conflict, even it says in my personality description, conflict physically affects me negatively. But over this past year, I learned that if I always want harmony and I try to avoid conflict, I'm not going to grow, and I'm never going to challenge my team to grow.
Right.
So that's a personality trait that I had to grow, that understand, like, that's kind of one of my weaknesses. And I recognized, okay, this is something I'm prone to. Right. How am I going to step up to the next level? And it was an uncomfortable year for me. I'm just going to tell you, but I feel set free is the only way I can describe it. I'm not afraid. In the group I talk about, like, I'm putting stuff on social media that I would never put out there. And I'm doing it just because I know people are going to say something about, they're going to judge me.
Right.
And that's okay, because I got to get over it.
Hey, Sharon, can I use what you just brought up just now to segue into something? I've,
of course,
obviously, and JJ, obviously I'm speaking to you, but, you know, I'm the one that 2 or 3 days ago broke the thing about Bill Gates. I've had people reach out to me from all over the world. And, you know, if you want to take 10 minutes tomorrow, I'd be more than glad to give you the exact, you know, from the horse's mouth scenario, how I know 1000% beyond a shadow of a doubt that that has not been true, has never been true. And, you know, a lot of people reached out and said, thank you, thank you, thank you. But I also took a lot of, it's almost like talking to people about the water for the first time. You know, they hear this lie about somebody for so long that when you give them the truth, they can't fathom it. So I took a lot of crap from a lot of people over the last 36 to 48 hours as they fumbled through what I told them and then fact checked what I did. And now I have a lot of leaders reaching out to me going, wow, I'm sorry, you were correct. But if you want to cover that on the show tomorrow, JJ, I'll say, you know, I'll be very, very truthful of exactly what went down, and we can just kind of set the record straight if you would like to do that tomorrow.
Absolutely, brother. I'm all about the truth. That's all I care about. I'm
okay.
Whatever the truth is, that's the truth. It doesn't matter what I think or anybody else thinks. It's not my truth or your truth or somebody else's truth. The truth is just the truth, period.
Well, this is 100% the truth. And when you hear it'll a lot of I's will be dotted and T's will be crossed. It'll make a lot of sense to you afterwards. But it's pretty interesting the way that, you know, people's thinking is. And you know, so like what she said, I mean, I only did this so that people would stop perpetuating and you know, the myth would quit growing from, you know, 4 years ago when I started Minard, it was 16 machines and it was 24. And then I saw a demo last week where the guy said he had 52. And I've known this information, and only me and Steve Beaumont have known this for the last year. And we've talked about it a few times, and I just decided it was just time to set the record straight. So yeah, you know, if we want to cover that a little bit tomorrow, we certainly can.
Yeah, absolutely. Because personally, I think it's important to stop saying that he has machines if he doesn't. Plain and
he does
simple.
not.
It's just, we can't be saying that he does when he doesn't.
Well, here's the thing about it, you know, and I'll just save it for tomorrow, but here's the thing. We have the perfect product. We don't need to embellish or lie about anything. And it's only an invitation for trouble when we do things like that. We don't need it. The product standalone speaks for itself. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, amen, brother. I love it.
And I obviously don't want to go into the whole thing because then you wouldn't have anything to talk about tomorrow. But it should be interesting. It'll be insightful, and a lot of people that, you know, I've had to connect with 4 or 5, 6, you know, leaders and give them the exact lowdown, and you know, they found it very eye opening and they really appreciate it. So maybe some people out there will enjoy hearing the story.
Well, you know, Dan, you're a lot like Coach. You just bring total value to the show once a month, and oftentimes even more. And I really, really appreciate that. And I think it's between you and Coach Minard. You guys are the epitome of what the Conf family is all about. It's all about helping other people. This company is so amazing, and how it encourages us to work with each other and help people that are not in our, you know, as Sean and I always say, that are not on our team, but we're all in the same league together. You know, we're just not on the same ball club together, but we're operating in this big league of awesome. So yeah, Coach, I love it. I appreciate what you've put together, and I've really enjoyed what you've done, stepping out and helping us. Because let's face it, there's a lot of people out there who are not going to do this kind of thing unless they're getting paid direct money for it. You know, this is something you've been charging thousands of dollars for, and here you are now giving it away for free. I mean, talk about change your water, change your life. That's why you decided to start doing that, right? Because you got involved with Kangen Water, and it shifted your mindset towards like, hey, I don't need to be charging thousands of dollars for this. I can give it away, and it'll be even more powerful. Was that something that kind of?
Well, so like I said before, I got into the water many years ago, and I tried to move forward with it, and I just wasn't getting anywhere. And it just, I think we have times and seasons in our life when we're ready for things and we're not ready for things. And so here I had my coaching business up. I had gone back to school for 2 years, got my master's degree, spent 2 years writing this book. I was getting coaching clients, enjoying what I was doing. But the dilemma was most coaching clients, they want to work with you in the evenings and on weekends. And that's my kids. I'm running them all over the place. I mean, we got basketball, lacrosse, football. I mean, we got everything. We're busy people. And at the same time, the water was just so getting heavy, heavy, heavy on my heart. And I know that was a God thing. And I mentioned it to somebody, and she said, this water could save people's lives. Why are you not doing more with it? And I started to make the excuse of, well, I've tried in the past, and it was like, no, this is the time. And I knew that, again, like looking at the financial side of the business with the money is just so incredible. And it just made more sense then. I mean, in the beginning, I was trying to do my coaching some and trying to do the water. It's really hard to build two businesses at once. I'm just going to be honest. And I thought, wow, the coaching so helped to transform me and to prepare me for the water business. Why can't I help others in the water business do the same? Let me just funnel this in to start training my people. Because here's the thing, I mean, still in the coaching, I'm trading my time for money. I'm locked into a schedule, which I don't like. If Tuesdays I want to go to the beach, or if I want to sleep in or whatever, like that's what I want to do. I want to take my family here. Like I like the freedom. And with the water, we have the freedom. And that's powerful to me. And not that, I don't set up appointments to meet with people, or whatever, but I'm not locked in, because so many entrepreneurs, you can still be locked in and you're still trading that time for money, even though it's your business. And that was really frustrating to me. Where now my week is my week. And I know when I want to set the time frame, I want to set up appointments, and that's when I set it up or set up meetings or whatnot. And there's joy in that when you then have control over that. So I probably looked really flaky, like I was jumping around from career to career. But for me, I just didn't have all the pieces yet. And then they just all came together, and it's just been such a blessing. And again, to be with a company that, like what Daniel DeMacaulay says in Edgic, is a self-development program with a compensation plan or something like that. Yeah. Because the more you grow your people, the more you grow your business, the more you grow your income. And that's the beautiful thing. And what I love too is you get one spouse in and they start changing. And sometimes it starts stirring stuff up in the marriage and the relationship too. And then that person starts growing. And it's like this catapult of change. And then, they start talking about, well, my kids are starting to see us change. and they're starting to be more positive, and they're starting to be more goal oriented. And I mean, it's so exciting to me. I mean, that's, in the end of the day, that's what it's all about, is changing lives. So whatever vehicle, to me, the water is a vehicle to open the door, to transform their health, to transform their mind, to transform their life. I mean, to me, it's a ministry. I mean, that's really what it is.
If you could see my skin, I've got goosebumps all over what you just said right there, you know. 'Cause your kids are, you know, it's like the Minard Army. I mean,
The Minard Army.
your kids are going to rock the world and change the world, you know, and it's going to be exciting down the road years from now when I've got your kids coming on the show here and telling their stories and
That's right.
and, you know, I'm looking forward to that because, you know, it's pretty amazing seeing the posts that you put up about your kids and how beautiful they are. And you know, it's just going to be really neat to follow their stories as time goes by. And that's the grace of this whole thing, this whole project of Kangen Water. It's, I just can't emphasize to people enough how accurate the mission statement of this company is. Change your water, change your life. It is so incredibly life changing that, you know, even the words can't really describe it. You have to feel it. All you got to do is make that wise choice. Make that wise choice and invest in yourself. Invest in Kangen Water, and it'll change your life so drastically that you're and it's when we say change lives, we're talking changing lives for the better here, not changing lives for the worse, changing lives for the incredible better. I mean, it is truly amazing how much my life has been changed by this company. And you know, that statement that it's a self-development program with a comp plan is just so incredibly accurate. And, you know, Coach, it's just neat to have something like this that's so powerful that we want to literally reach out and help other people, even though we don't have there's no financial gain out of it. And, you know, I get a lot more warmth out of knowing that I helped somebody somehow and helped change somebody's mind or their life or whatever for the better than I do getting a check in the mail. You know, the money is a secondary aspect of it. And that's just powerful. I've never been involved with anything like this in all of my years of being the serial entrepreneur. I've been trying one thing after another for 4 decades. And this is the best. This is the best. We get to meet with people like you. We get to learn from people like you and Dan and Daniel and Rodgar here, you know. I mean, the things that he does all over, he goes down and helps people in impoverished countries build houses and things. And it's fantastic. The people that I have been so graced to be blessed by in the last 3 years is just incredible. It literally brings chills up my spine and gives me goosebumps and all that kind of stuff. And Coach, I just want to say thank you so much for coming and joining us again today. And for everybody out there, Coach Minard, she comes on the show every first Monday of the month. We figure, hey, let's blast off the month with the first Monday with Coach Minard, because it's a great thing to start the month off on a positive note, giving your brain some tips of how you can improve this month. How can I make this month a better month than last month was, you know, and so on. And so I just can't think of a better way to start out the month than having you in the house, Coach. And I'm so grateful, so thankful that you do it. And God bless you.
Thank you for having me. I feel blessed to be on here, and we're changing the world together.
Amen. We are the Kong family. We're here to change the world. We're doing it. 1 glass of hydrogen-rich, oxygen-saturated, incredibly hydrating Kangen water, 9.5 at a time. 1 lightning bolt in a box. 1 incredible special guest at a time. one amazing person, one incredible family at a time. It's happening. People think it's crazy, but I'll tell you what, it's not crazy. It is crazy, but that's what keeps it from going insane.
One hooty hoo.
Thank you so much for being here with us again today, and I look forward to seeing you tonight in the training. And you know, just God bless you. Keep up all the great work, and thank you.
Thank you, JJ. Appreciate you having me on. Thank you for all you do.
You guys get out there, change the world, starting with your own, and do not forget your hugs, kids. You need your hugs and your
Thank you.
Thanks to everybody that was on the live side. I hope you guys got as much value out of today's show as we did. And get out there, change the world, kids. Starting with your own. Love you.
Great.
See you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Love you guys. Make it a great one. See you, brother. Give that sweetie of yours a hug.
You too. See you.